controller,
Satya,
yeah,
the ultimate truth,
the ultimate truth,
Swayam,
I am,
personally,
personally,
Jyoti,
Jyoti,
self-effulgent,
self-effulgent,
Ajya,
Satya,
unborn,
unborn,
Purana,
Purana,
the oldest,
the oldest,
Date,
Bhakti,
he performs,
reform,
Asya,
Satya,
of this universe,
of this universe,
Janma Adi,
Brahmadi,
the creation, maintenance, and annihilation. Ajaya,
Jaya,
by his eternal energy.
by his eternal energy,
Atma Saktya,
Atma Sakya,
by his personal potency.
by his personal potency,
Tam,
Dham,
that external and material energy.
the external material energy,
Vidyaya,
Jaya,
by his spiritual potency.
by spiritual potency,
Udasya,
Vidatya,
giving up.
giving up,
Nireha,
Niriham,
without any desire or activity.
without any desire or activity,
Aste,
Aste,
he is existing.
is existing.
Translation and purport by Bhakti Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki.
Aye.
The entire cosmic manifestation is the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, who has millions of names and unlimited potencies. He is self-effulgent, unborn, and changeless. He is the beginning of everything, but he has no beginning. Because he has created this cosmic manifestation by his external energy, the universe appears to be created, maintained, and annihilated by him. Nonetheless, he remains inactive in his spiritual energy and is untouched by the activities of the material energy. Purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in his Sikshastaka, Nam Namakari Baudanya Sarva Sakti. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has many names, which are all non-different from the Supreme Person. This is spiritual existence. By chanting the Hare Krishna mantra consisting of the names of the Supreme Lord, we find that the name has all the potencies of the person. The Lord's activities are many, and according to his activities, he has many names. He appeared as the son of Mother Yasoda and also the son of Mother Devaki, and therefore he is named Devaki Nandan and Yasoda Nandan. Parasya Sakti Vidite Vashoyate. This is from Madhya Lila 13.6.5. Chaitanya Charitamrita in the purport. The Lord has a multitude of energies and therefore he acts in multifarious ways. Yet he has a particular name. The Shastras recommend which names we should chant, such as Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. It is not that we have to search for some name or manufacture one. Rather, we must follow the saintly persons and the Shastras in chanting his holy name. Although the material and spiritual energies both belong to the Lord, he is impossible to understand as long as we are in the material energy. And when we come to the spiritual energy, it is very easy to know, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.7.23. Mayam Vyudasya Sitsaktya Kavalya Stita Atmani. Although the external energy belongs to the Lord, when one is in the external energy, Mama Maya Drachaya, is difficult to understand. However, when one comes to the spiritual energy, one can understand him. Therefore it is said in Bhagavad Gita, Akyamama vichanti yavnyasasmi tattvata. One who wants to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead in reality must take to the platform of Bhakti or Krishna consciousness. This Bhakti consists of various activities: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. Srimad Bhagavatam 7, 5, 23. And to understand the Lord, one must take to this path of devotional service. Even though the people of the world have forgotten God and may say that God is dead, this is not a fact. One can understand God when one takes to the Krishna conscious movement, and thus one can be happy. I read the verse again. Savisvakaya puhuta isha satya svayam chodya acha purana tate svajanmat yat satyat masakya tam vitya yodasya niriya aste. The entire cosmic manifestation is the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Absolute Truth wears millions of names and unlimited potencies. He is self-effulgent, unborn, and changeless. He is the beginning of everything, but he has no beginning, because he has created this cosmic manifestation by his eternal external energy. The universe appears to be created, maintained, and annihilated by him. Nonetheless, he remains inactive and in his spiritual energy and is untouched by the activities of the material energy. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namani. Namaste Saraswata Devi Gauravani Pracharani Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskachai Desatarani. Srila Prabhupada Ki. So all the material world is the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Krishna is transcendental, completely spiritual. How can something material come from something spiritual? So the Supreme Absolute Truth, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, cannot be understood by our present sense perception. Matter can only perceive matter. Sometimes people challenge, can you show me God? But God, as mentioned here in the purport, that the Supreme Lord can be seen through the eyes of the scripture. This means one can see the Lord by hearing the glories of the Lord, by hearing how he reveals himself, and by hearing the instructions of great saints. Srila Prabhupada says, we must follow saintly persons. Then, great saints will explain us how to purify our life. If our senses are purified, then we can perceive God in everything. And that's interesting. I have here Nectar of Instruction, text 4. So text 10, Upadesamrita. I'll just read a part of the translation. Among the gopis, Srimati Radharani is the most dear to Krishna. Her lake is as profoundly dear to Lord Krishna as this most beloved of the gopis. Who then will not reside at Radhakund and it is said, and in a spiritual body surcharged with ecstatic devotional feelings, Aprakrita Bhav renders service to the divine couple. that so it is said, in a spiritual body surcharged with ecstatic devotional feelings. Interesting. A spiritual body surcharged with ecstatic devotional feelings. Srila Prabhupada said many times, the spiritual senses are there. But these spiritual senses, they are now covered over with matter. And they have become dysfunctional. So our spiritual body is there, but it's covered with matter. So Krishna consciousness is the process to uncover it. And how to do that? Nectar of Devotion says, Atasi Krishna Nama Di Nabhavet Shayam Indriyai Sevamuke Ichivato Svayam Eva Spuratyada says, because Krishna's forms, Krishna's qualities, Krishna's pastimes, etc., are all on the absolute platform. Material senses cannot therefore appreciate them. So that's what I said before. Matter can only perceive matter. You cannot perceive the Supreme Lord with your senses. They have to become purified. The matter has to be, the influence of the matter has to be removed. And our spiritual senses have to become active again. When the conditioned soul is awakened to Krishna consciousness and renders service by using his tongue to chant the Lord's holy name and taste the remnants of the Lord's food. So that's the methodology. Two things. Chant Hare Krishna and take only Krishna Prasad. That's the diet. And when one follows that, then the tongue is purified, and healthy one comes to understand who Krishna really is. So this verse explains how we can understand Krishna. First, chant Hare Krishna, hear the glories of the Lord, take prasad, and then healthy, our sons become purified, and we become healthy Krishna conscious. Of course, there's also the Brahma Samhita who explains the same thing, that Premancharat Shuriti Bhakti Vinochanana Sandas Sadeva Hridayesi Vilokayanta Yatsyama Sundara Sintya Gunasvarupam Govinda Madi Purusham Tamham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord who is Syama Sundar, Krishna himself, with inconceivable, innumerable attitudes, whom the pure devotees see them in their hearts, with the eye of devotion, twicht with a salve of love. We say also Om Mahjana Tivandasya. When the eyes are anointed with the pulp of love of Godhead, then you can see the Supreme Lord. When the eyes are divinely decorated with the ointment of Bhakti, then we can perceive the Supreme Lord, the Supreme form of God. That Krishna says, as mentioned in the purport, Bhaktyam abhichanti yavayasasmi tatvataha tatamam tatvato gyatva visate tat anantaram. Only by bhakti I can be known. And he says the same in 1155 to Arjuna. Arjuna, you can know me as I'm standing before you only by Ananya Bhakti, pure devotional service. But when the point here is, when our senses become purified by engaging in the process of devotional service, then we can experience God. So that is the point. So But at the other side, Srila Prabhupada, he many times said you must look at the scriptures from different angles of view. That the viewpoint we took now is you have to become purified. That so one must become purified, and then one can perceive the Supreme Lord with one's spiritual senses. Now, the other point of view is that factually, every moment in this world, we are experience God because the Supreme Lord is everything at the same time. He's in every atom, he's between every atom. So there's in reality no question of being apart from the Supreme Lord. Because the material energy is his energy. And Krishna explains about that. Bhagavad Gita 7:14. Deva yesha gunamai mama maya durachya mami vaye pravachante mayam etam tarantite. That the divine energy of mind, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. So, therefore, the point is surrender. Surrender. Without surrender, we cannot surmount the material energy. But we are experience Krishna every moment. That's a reality. But we cannot perceive the essence of our surroundings. And the essence is Krishna. Because Krishna says, 3:27 Bhagavad Gita, Prakritya kriyamani guna karmana sarvasa ahankara vimutatma kartamiti maniyate. He says, yes, that we are those who think they are the doers, they are doing everything in this world, they are vimuta super asses. So we are also the doer, but not the only doer. Krishna says there are 5 factors of action in the 18th chapter. We are only one of these 5. And we do things with our desire. And the super soul, he controls material nature, controls the body, makes us speak according to our desire, move our hands and so on. That's Krishna doing that. So therefore we experience Krishna at every moment, but we cannot perceive it because we don't see the essence of our surroundings, which is Krishna, until we find the essence of ourselves. And that's the point. First, we have to find the essence of ourselves. As long as we have a superficial conception of who we are, then our perception of the world is superficial. I repeat it again. If we think we are this body, then we see everything in the body concept of life. We don't see Krishna. So first we have to know who we are. That as long as we have an illusory understanding of our own identity, then everything what we perceive is based on an illusion. Therefore, reality begins with knowing oneself. That when we understand that the self is separate from the body, then, and we understand that we are part and parcels of Krishna, then we will perceive the presence of Krishna everywhere and in everything. Now, it is a very simple process, and we have to realize who we are, part and parcels of Krishna. And we have simply to act according to our Dharma. Dharma, Srila Prabhupada said, is what cannot be changed. Dharma cannot be changed. The Dharma means that our constitutional position of the spirit soul, of the living entity, who we are. That, like the quality of water. Water is wet in its normal condition. It's wet. That's the quality of water. You cannot change that. In the same way, who we are, you cannot change. We are a part of God. We are a part and parcel of Krishna. That, and acting as a part and parcel of Krishna, that's our constitutional position, and that's called Sanatana Dharma, our eternal nature, real nature. That, so Sanatana Dharma means our constitutional position as being a part and part of Krishna. Although that service, in this, so our Dharma is to serve Krishna eternally. And through that service, this spiritual awakening takes place. That's explained by Narada Muni. Sarvapada Nirmuktam Tat Paratvana Nirmalam Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Utshate. Bhakti or devotional service means engaging all one's senses in the service of the Lord, the master of the senses, Rishikesh. When the spirit soul renders service to the Supreme Lord, then there are two side effects. One is free from one's artificial material designations. One does not think himself a man anymore, a woman, or a brahmachari, or a sannyasi, or whatever. We are not these things. We are spirit soul, different from these designations. And simply by being employed in the service of the Lord, our senses become purified. And then with these purified senses, then you come into the light. That's what Bhagavad Gita says in the 5th chapter. When you are in the light, then you can now see everything very clearly in the daylight. Then we come in the spiritual light, we can see who we are, who Krishna is, and so on. And the Bhagavad Gita is explaining how to develop this Krishna consciousness, of this spiritual awareness of the Supreme Lord. That in the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the vision of an Uttamadhikari is described, 629. Sarvabhutastam sarvabhutani satmanekshate yogi yuktatma sarvata samadakshina. A true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized person sees me, the Supreme Lord, everywhere. So, an Uttamadhikar, an advanced devotee, sees Krishna everywhere. That he sees, I take birth in this world. And everything what we experience in this world are circumstances created by Krishna as a super soul. And these circumstances are reactions to our actions in past life. Therefore, you get happiness and distress that's predestined. You cannot change. And so the devotee sees how Krishna does all these things, arranges to provide you the miseries so that you can have your karma or the so-called happiness of the body. But if we realize our real identity, we are not interested in this happiness and distress of the body, which is temporary. We are fixed in devotional service. That like a boat is rocked, sometimes goes up and down. Sometimes we are in distress, or that happened, this happened, and the next moment we experience happiness and then distress again, going up and down and up and down. but devotee remains steady in all this. Study, because that's tolerating. That is a first quality we have to develop this Krishna consciousness. Understanding everything what Krishna gives me is his mercy. That if we have to suffer because we have caused suffering to others in our past life, it's supreme justice. And we thank Krishna, yes, I deserve it. And that's the proper attitude we must develop to develop this vision. That text 630 Bhagavad Gita. Yoma payash sarvata sarvam samaya pasati tasyam na panashami sasame na panashati. For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. So that is yoga, being linked up with Krishna. The devotee always thinks of Krishna, and Krishna therefore takes a special position towards him. That perceiving Krishna means accepting Krishna as a friend. At the end of the 5th chapter, it is said that Bhaktam Charitapasam Sarvalokamarasmanam Suradam Sarvabhutanam. Krishna says, I'm the friend of everyone, because he wants to purify us from this contamination which covered our spiritual senses, so that we can perceive him. And when we are perceiving him, then we are linked with Krishna, then we are in Krishna consciousness, then we are happy. And Krishna wants us to be happy. That therefore, if you become a devotee of Krishna, your life becomes different. At the end of the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, I think it's 9:29, Krishna says, Samam sarvabhuteshu namidveshu stina priya. He says, yeah, I'm equal to everyone, I'm impartial. So Krishna is in the heart as a super soul in his four-armed form, and is impartial. You get the reactions from your previous life, and he gives you the reactions. That's what you you deserve. It's like a judge. A judge, he says, yes, this person must be hanged. This person gets 1 million compensation. But he is neutral. He just applies the law. So the super soul just applies the material laws. You have done that to others in your previous life, you get it back. So I'm neutral. But if you become a devotee, and that's required to develop this divine vision, that Yeba chanted to man bhaktiya maitite sapyam, Krishna says. If you become my devotee, then you will be, I will become your friend, and you are a friend to me. Then you have a relationship. This devotion makes our relationship. And then the super soul is not anymore the four-armed super soul, but takes the form of Krishna. And Krishna will arrange your karma. You may still get your karma, but he's going to arrange it in such a way that you will become purified and make spiritual advancement. And Krishna confirms that in 9:22. Ananya sintyantamam yechna paripasta tesam nityabhyuktam yogaksena vamyam. He says, yes, that I will protect whatever you have, Krishna says, and I will give you everything what you need. But this has to be interpreted as Srila Prabhupada explains it in the purport. In the purport, he says that one should, that Krishna protects what you have means he protects the Krishna consciousness you have already developed. And he gives you what you need. means he will give you what's good for your spiritual advancement. If you are too attached to something and you cannot give it up, yasyam anughenami, that Krishna says, then I will give you my mercy. I will take it away what you are attached to. And then you must give up your attachment. Krishna forces you. And then you suffer to never suffer again. So that is Krishna. So what is this divine vision? We need to see Krishna everywhere. That's explained in the 5th chapter, verses 8 and 9. That verses 8 and 9. Naiva kinshit karomati yuktmayeto tatvat pasanspranspransihan asnangvachans vapas vasam palapam vichibam hinam unmisam nimisamapi inyart desu partadeti dayam. A person in the divine consciousness. That's a person who sees what's going on in this world. Although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping and breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all. Because while speaking, evacuating, receiving or opening or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with their objects, and that is aloof from them. So that is divine Christian. Everyone in this world is sleeping, breathing, is speaking, opening and closing his eyes, and the devotee sees only Krishna. Krishna is doing that. Because we have, as a spirit soul, we have no power to move matter. It's all done by the body, which is under the control of Krishna in the heart, the super soul. He controls our breathing, our digestion. Yes, he gives us intelligence. It decides what we forget. It decides what we can remember. It decides with capacities we can have according to our karma. He's doing everything. So that is, I try to comment mainly on what Srila Prabhupada said in the purport, that especially the second part, how to understand the Supreme Lord. Any comments, questions?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Vatsadulali, yes. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Maharaj, for your class. I wanted to ask, why does Krishna continue to send us tests through Maya? Is it because he wants us to be truly fixed up before we enter the spiritual world? Is it to make us stronger in our spiritual life?
That's a very good question. A devotee asked Srila Prabhupada, will Krishna send us tests? Srila Prabhupada said, yes. The devotee asked, and will Krishna give us always more heavy and heavy tests? That will he continue to give us tests? Srila Prabhupada said, no. Once you have passed the tests, then no tests anymore. That's interesting, that what Srila Prabhupada is saying here, we have our attachment to material things. As long as we have this attachment, which hampers our Krishna consciousness, this tendency, as long as we have this tendency to enjoy, Krishna will give us tests. But once we are liberated from that, we are free from that, no tests anymore. And what's the example? It's Bali Maharaj in the 8th canto that he got the final test. He surrendered completely, Atma Nivedanam, everything. And then no test anymore. After that, he got subterranean heavenly planets. He got everything what he desired, but what he did not desire anymore. Interesting. Does that help, Ratsadulali?
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Yes.
Yeah. Are there any questions from Montreal?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay.
Thank you so much for the lecture. Would you say, like, where would you say, Maharaj, the desire to purify ourselves, where does this desire come? How does it maybe appear in some person and maybe not another person? Or
Yeah, that's a good question. The desire for purification is very important. But also Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita, in the 5th chapter, I think it's verse 17 or no, it's before. So it's before text 11, 5:11. Kainama sabutya kevala indiyarapi yogana karma konfanti sanganchat vadna sudhe. The yogis abandoning attachment act with body, mind, intelligence, even with the senses, only for the purpose of purification. So here it is that the devotee, he acts for the purpose of purification. But if we don't have that desire for purification, that means we have desire for sense gratification. It's not going together. If one's desire for sense gratification is high, your desire for purification is low. So how to bring it to the other way? That we discussed today. You have to follow the procedure, the diet. And the diet is hearing about Krishna in association of devotees. And take only Krishna Prasad. But I would say especially the desire comes when one is in association with advanced devotees, with pure devotees. And because they will feel inspired to make spiritual advancement. And just being in their association, that will help you. Then you want to become like they are. And that inspires you to purify yourself, to come to that platform. So association of devotees is in that sense very, very important. We can have also association with the scriptures and so on, but it's more potent if we can associate with devotees. That gives us, that purifies us. And so that's important. Does that help?
yes, Maharaj, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yes, Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Yes, please.
I just had a question concerning this point. It seems sometimes we hear, or we might think like, oh, I need the association of pure devotees, so we might take for granted the association we already got and not take fully advantage or be respectful to the association that Krishna already gave us. So how can we manage this hankering for good association at the same time being able to take advantage of what Krishna already gave us?
So it was a little weak, but I tried to understand. But I think you said that, that's all good association with pure devotees, but we must also have the desire to associate with devotees. And we can say, where are these pure devotees, right? But we can understand someone who follows the process of Krishna consciousness for many years without deviation, comes every morning to the morning program, one must have a certain level of purification. And those who are steady in their devotional service, never give up, whether failure or success, they are keep going and remain steady. That is the devotees to whom we must associate with and take shelter. So I think that is a very important point. Of course, we hear also the Bhagavatam and we have Srila Prabhupada. It's also pure, but we get the potency really to understand also the potency of Srila Prabhupada if it's discussed among advanced devotees. So what can we do? We are doing the right thing, that you stay all in the temple, follow the morning program, come regularly to the programs. So that's the way to purify us. But finally, to get this taste for purification and so on, it depends on the mercy of Krishna. And we cannot demand the mercy. It's not possible that we can become qualified by trying to follow to the best of our ability, and that sincerity that will attract Krishna's mercy. But when Krishna gives it, it's up to him. As Krishna is pleased, then we get that real sense for purification. And how to please Krishna? Please, Srila Prabhupada, distribute his books, continue with the preaching. Even in these difficult times, just continue, and we will get the mercy. Does that help, Dr. Samuel, Prabhu?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay. Something else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
If one has a desire to have a wife, how can one be sure if that desire is to please Krishna by bringing a Krishna conscious children up, or if it is for sense gratification?
Yeah, then there are a few questions you have to answer. That if you have that desire, is that desire for me? That desire, if I fulfill that desire and I have a wife, do I expect that this is going to make me happy? That if the answer is yes on these questions, your desire is material. Normally in the Vedic system, the brahmachari, he speaks with the spiritual master. And he will enter the Grihastha ashram on the order of the spiritual master. So before developing this desire, it's good to speak with the spiritual master about it. If he gives the order, if he sees that your nature is yes, you would be a good family man, he gives you the order. And then you follow that order, not your desire. You follow his order. And then the Grihastha ashram will be a spiritual ashram. That's the purpose. And it will be for your purification, not for your happiness. If you do it for your happiness, it's material, it will keep you in this world. So these are essential questions we must answer for ourselves. That's just an introduction to the point you are made. But does that help to think about this more deeply?
Thank you, Maharaj. And also, would one have to take sannyas eventually to return to Godhead if they do have a wife?
No, you have to take sannyas in your heart. Sannyas means giving up all attachment to this world. Prahlad Maharaj said that he said, there's a teaching of the 7th canto, don't try to become happy in this world, because there is no happiness in this world. If you try to become happy in this world, you stay here. And that's something we have to learn. If we are convinced that there is no happiness in this world, and there is only happiness on the spiritual platform, then we are ready to go back to the spiritual world. If you want to enjoy in this world, you stay here. Because you cannot go to the spiritual world, because there is no sense gratification in the spiritual world. It's not there. You won't be happy there. So you first have to give that up. But we give that up by getting a higher taste. Param dristvani vartate. You cannot give it artificially. So by making progress in spiritual life, gradually, you become attached to Krishna. And then your attachment for this world goes away. And that's sannyas. That's real sannyas in the heart. So these ashrams are external, but it's good to go through them because they are helpful. Therefore, it's advice, Shriyasta life is temporary. When the children are grown up, then you take vanaprastha. And you can take vanaprastha with your wife. That's not a problem. But you should engage both 100% in service. Srila Prabhupada has therefore given us ashrams in Vrindavan, in Mayapur, and you can stay there and do service full time. That children are grown up, it's all gone. So we engaged in service. And that's the purpose of vanaprastha. Sannyas, the sannyas ashram is very rare because then you give up all connections with this world, like you have died already, and you live only for preaching. Only the Bhagavatam, finish all the other things. But that's exceptionally. But you must have some purity in heart to do that. Otherwise, you cannot stay in that position. But vanaprastha is also very elevated. It's also good to take vanaprastha. This is also an introduction to the subject matter. These are the essentials, I would say. Does that help?
Thank you very much, Maharaj. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Anything else? So, if there are no further questions, then I was very happy to be with you today. I hope one day I can come back to Montreal and give you a live class there, not only virtual. I'm now in Bulgaria. The sun has just come up in Montreal, and here the sun is setting. In 1 hour it's dark here. But yes, we have the light of Krishna's sun. If we have Krishna in our heart, we feel always satisfied. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
His Holiness Bhakti Prabhava Swami Maharaj ki.
Srila Prabhupada ki.
Thank you, Maharaj, for having accepted. And we're hoping perhaps we can speed up hearing from you at least numerically now. And I hope we will see you in some short time.
I also, let's see what Krishna's plan is. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Jai Prabhupada.